Adanwi ana aya KSL ato forcing awaye Ghana sikasam soafo mekire finance minister ode budget kotu dwa na budget ni mu no ena sense bia na wom no ana achim ayerebi MP eye Kojo Opong Nkrumah ono so akasem bia fa ho a
we want to also draw his attention. If you look at what they are doing, if you look at the report, if you look at what they are doing on the currency, today the currency has appreciated by about 42%. That's a matter of fact. Why?
Kojo Opong Nkrumah kasa na ose se wono de woye patriotic citizen so hu no kura obeka ena sa so so na wo se eduru ba bi o criticize so a obeka
What the government, we are advising all humility, what the government should do is to take a lot more seriously the whole exercise of ensuring that exporters retire the forex earnings, properly so-called, back into the jurisdiction. The LOC requirements is what they should pay attention to.
All right, I wish you for me mobi akwaba eba abro GH Politics TV. And then so yes signed in some at the bro it says hadie or say nothing but the truth. And then me Sir Frank me trem diama minua abro the big mouth na ye digana ho enkomo. Eti mesra say wunya subscribe to the channel na. Bomade say also subscribe to the channel. Na atumi aboa na chese Ghana akona nimi say Ghana yeda wo timbi na me so me timbi enu nti na wo say yedi nini na etumi aboa na na pa dia nsem a etwa gonom say all these years ever since modern day politics ebaye omama ya tia say entro kakra ena enokra so kakra in fact omampani Mahams nkasa on several occasions ena waka say amanyosam aye ogana hara de entro kakra na afeso no ode nokra so na tro bi kura nokra no eho yenka yebetwa ntro no e de akire amanfo a ewo omanim na nei saa asem no em se ayi ne ho adipa ya nanua na eye finance minister e de Midyear budget kotuja na wode kokotuja saa no ehun nsem bebrebe na eyi ne ti a eba ne mu na Kojo Opong Nkrumah akasem bi enche kura be kokotie asem ne mu nsem na yehu se de eniama esitie na me ka wo se aha eye abro GH Politics TV so na uwe na mensa so nka se wo paduane papa adidi a ene na ye abro pub and kitchen ye okumase asafo bia e friend se eye abrotia school no honmo ene ye wo anaso obisa ship house a obia ebe kirewo enti sa abraham no kasa de ye nyina ni twi ne mra abro pub and kitchen media aduane pa ne enum ensapanso enka ho afiyenko asemne mu adanwi ana aya KSL ato forcing awaye Ghana sikasam soafo mekire finance minister ode budget kotu dwa na budget ni mu no ena sense bia na wom no ana achim ayerebi MP eye Kojo Opong Nkrumah ono so akasem bia fa ho a ensem na wakeka fa on na yade amefi se ewo se abro GH Politics TV fo ensunya kwan tie bi na de comment aba emen komo no ayede Kojo Opong Nkrumah kasa na ose se wono de woye patriotic citizen so hu no kura obeka ena sa so so na wo se eduru ba bi o criticize so a obeka na se yemmo aban bi aba so se me ne nya adwene kura na obeka ena yen criticize aban so se me ne nya adwene so a eno so obeye eno ntiri Kojo Opong Nkrumah so odi tudwa na ose oba aban na aba so e wo ba bi ana ba bi so no a eno so oka nsemfa ho abusuafo mpase akone ekotie Kojo Opong Nkrumah ne nsem a waka ede afa eye budget ya nanua eye minister ede kotudwa e wo parliament no yeba bebieja e wo nsem no mu ye hwese de niama esitie here on abro GH Politics TV so ye try one ekotie Kojo Opong Nkrumah MP for Achem Airebi or France Airebi Ewo Eastern region. Yeba, near Betuan Comotruchen so.
Beman and Mema same move from the boss one with Jemu. Beman Nenny saying at your battle phone. Beman and Muya Ned is here Munya Dimbio. Obi won so no the boss for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, no son. What fantastic man can't say in Drone dear. Na dro de say ye papa na me abro me di wa dance ye kire wa gitum enye wo nko na me di dro be ma for almost 8 years say 2024 right 8 years me na me nami 8 years ya na me wure mi both on radio and social media obi enu wo timi ato dro kan say abro anye adwuma me say anye yi a baji wusika kumasi asafo shepas na me ho eye yi a na wo de mental na me mpaboa na me watch abeche me said you share me see my talibi a me bia presenter bia ni bi Ghana talibia me she bia ni bi any man o won tale e fetch me na papa chi me ba me de quality one we say ni de oni bi okofa wan if Canada ni US ni UK mu na de blewa o say damutie e me do na me de ma won se wo yo bia wo de duro so eduro bia pressure wo diabetes wan wo de eduro bia oda so bia no kan okra kire me se what you ben ma pen a me mfa woni yi a wo de ye kan okra kire me obi won so wonye nnam yare o se o manum abrafuduro ma wo pan ye ekọ nso o ma na se nsuo fita bi fu ben mu ba ebu ba ju so bi na se yellow sometimes when am ko ben manim timi bo pa na mu na o ya ben manim timi bo uye mu timi so no di na yemi na o se akọ doctor me pa che o kan okra kire abro me ma wo duro sa duro ni 600 Ghana cedis uyusu na ankwa beje musika because me say nyem na me ye duro no ana nimpa no so no na duro no me gitu me am yusu aye papa ntite me no tu just wafata obi ya na anye ya me de no baba beje sika wo say onu ponti me ma abro fama no onti me ma because ye nim de ye kwe me no man na wo screen so 0243302191 edini ye mawuli ekpe Peter no na mobile money number eduru ma bo no board ya kire koko ye 600 se osisi na ye 600 be ma na for no pese kesi 1005 emu nya din no pese mu odin 1005 o de boss so na we je mo memo sorry me so na ye 2006 ye post di Abraham on na 500 misrew se watwetwe ho pen wonya ndam yare pen wo de duro so anu so edu ne 600 Ghana cedis nti wa hu dodo o hia na wa ye mobile money wa ma me odin wa address any phone number na ma post the amount be post to 7 working days and I want sabeti me aka 7 working days minimum intro chat because enyam na post office for na dey ba and I tell me e cause 7 working days ni do bia me the money bia so na ya dey na setimika na my voice message amount as to say there ube issue no.
Honourable members, it's now the turn of Honourable Kojo Opong Nkrumah. 15 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the motion currently before the House, that this House should approve the mid-year report or review of the budget and economic policy for the 2025 financial year. Mr. Speaker, I know that a lot of people will be expecting at a time like this that our colleagues on the other side will say everything that has happened so far is good. And then those on this side will be saying everything that has happened is bad. But Mr. Speaker, you see, we are very patriotic. On this side, we are very patriotic. And so where we have to give commendation, we'll give commendation. Where we have to critique, we will give the necessary critique. Where we have to draw your attention to some things, we will do so. And then where we have to caution you, we will do so. Mr. Speaker, I will be speaking on only 4 matters. First are observations that are worthy of commendation. If you look at the fiscal program that the Minister for Finance presented to us earlier this year, and you look at the critique that we gave as a side of the House, and then you look at the returns that he has brought to us in the mid-year review, Mr. Speaker, I will commend him for listening. And let me show you. When the minister came to the House, he came with a fiscal program. He said he was going to raise revenue of 102 billion Ghana cedis without introducing new taxes. Let no soul say he wasn't here on that day. We all recall when he said he was going to increase tax to GDP ratio from 13 to 18% without introducing new taxes. And I remember us drawing his attention to the fact that that was not possible. In fact, he told us that despite the removal of taxes, which he was promising, the way he was going to close the 6 billion CD gap was that he was going to reduce VAT retention threshold from 6% to 4%, and that will close the gap. I'm sure you all remember. The outturns have come. And now you are beginning to realize that the minister's revenue strategy, originally as he presented, has failed. Remember that the minister clawed back about 11 billion Ghana cedis swept from 31st December, and then has introduced 8 new taxes to try to close that gap. And despite that, the evidence that his strategy has failed is that revenue has underperformed by 3 billion Ghana cedis. The revenue situation is short of 3 billion Ghana cedis. But why I commend him is that on the expenditure side, contrary to the program he brought to us, that he was going to spend 128 billion, because of the critique that it's important to cut about 3% of GDP. You recall when we said 3% of GDP, about 30 billion Ghana cedis has to cut. He has now gone and has cut, if you look at the numbers he's presented to us, half year he has cut 19 billion. 19 billion Ghana cedis. And if you model to the end of the year, by the end of the year, that 30 billion that we are saying is what needs to be cut, is where he will be heading to. And so I commend him for listening. But Mr. Speaker, I'll show him where the problem still is. We want to also draw his attention, if you look at what they are doing, if you look at the report, if you look at what they are doing on the currency. Today, the currency has appreciated by about 42%. That's a matter of fact. Why? Among other things, is the fact that we are backing our currency with gold. I recall Ricketts Hagan, Deputy Majority Leader, on his feet here, admitting that one of the major reasons for which our currency has appreciated is because we are backing it with gold. Mr. Speaker, the gold purchase program, which is one of the major contributors to where we are today, was launched on the 17th of June 2021. So I commend the government for continuing with the gold purchase program. The gold purchase program was being done by the Bank of Ghana and the PMMC. By the Bank of Ghana and the PMMC. The Bank of Ghana is still here. The PMMC is what you've rebranded as Gold Board. And so I give you commendation for continuing the gold purchase program. It was a gold purchase program that moved us from 8.7 tons of gold to 30 tons of gold when we started. The third commendation I'll give is for continuing with the inflation reduction program. Remember that when the international crisis hit us, inflation went as high as 54%. And then the central bank started the tight monetary policy aimed at bringing it down. That was what brought inflation down from 54% to 23% by the time we were leaving power. And as you came, you are continuing. And so the first part of my submission is to commend you for continuing the gold purchase program, continuing the inflation reduction program, and continuing or following the fiscal critique that we gave. But Mr. Speaker, you see, when we say this government is not spending, sometimes they confuse it for fiscal discipline. I heard the chairman of the Economic Committee, my very good friend, Honorable Afo, suggesting that what is happening is fiscal discipline. Honorable Chairman, it is not. There's a difference between fiscal discipline and a failure to meet fiscal targets. When you program that you are going to raise 102 billion and that you will spend 128 billion and achieve a primary balance of 0.4%, fiscal discipline is when you are able to do that. When you fail to raise the revenue and you fail to spend, that's not fiscal discipline. And because you are not raising the revenues that are required so that you can spend, this fiscal failure, the consequence is that you are failing to deliver on some essential public goods and services. You see, when you fail on fiscal policy or fiscal program, it will hit you in the goods and services and it will hit you in development. My brother, the deputy minister, or my brother, the minister, is asking me such as, I will show you. You see, one of the public goods and services is security. One of the public goods and services, Honorable Mutala, is security. You asked me, I'm responding to you. One of the public goods and services is security. To be able to provide security, you have to release money so that the intelligence agencies can gather intelligence and act on it. When you fail to meet the fiscal program, you can't even pay the allowances for intelligence officers. So, and I regret to say this, but because you asked, that's what I'm telling you. So when people plan that they are going to Nalerigu Senior High School to commit murder, your intelligence agencies can't pick it up because you are not spending. When you are not releasing the funds for intelligence work to be done, when people are plotting insecurity, your intelligence system can't pick it up. You asked me about examples of the public goods and services that will suffer. Let me give you some more examples. Take your flagship programs. You say you are going to do a national apprenticeship program. So far, because of the fiscal failure, you have only been able to release 7% of the budget. Because of the fiscal failure, your 1 million coders program, you have released 0% of the budget. Because of the fiscal failure, the Agric for Economic Transformation agenda, you've released 0% of the budget. The Women's Development Bank, you've released 0% of the budget. The Big Push, you've released 0% of the budget, and you are still listing old road projects that have been commissioned. So I'm drawing your attention to the fact that because you misconceived the fiscal program, it is showing where you have to release money. And you cannot keep going on failing to release money. Because if you do not release the money, public goods and services and development will struggle. People are looking for hospitals in their constituencies. Because of fiscal failure, you haven't been able to add one cement block to Agenda 111. Why? Because you are not raising and spending. How often can you tell people who are not getting the public goods and services that you promised that what you have done is that you brought the primary balance to 1.1? It's like a father who says that I am piling up all my salary in the bank account, but I won't pay my children's school fees, I won't pay their medical bills. When they ask me, I say the bank account is looking nice. That is what is going on. And that is why we are drawing your attention to the fact, though we've commended you in some areas, that you can't continue like this. Mr. Speaker, there are some recommendations we want to make. These are recommendations about some things that must be sustained. So, for example, let me speak about the currency. Now, the IMF has exposed you that part of what you are doing on the currency front is that you are dumping about $1.5 billion from the reserves that we left you onto the market to suppress the currency. And they have advised you that you should desist from that. The question is, how do you sustain an appreciation of the currency? We've already come to an understanding of why the currency has appreciated and what you are even doing as part of it. But how do you sustain it? Mr. Speaker, I have told you that we are patriotic. We will give record. We are not like those who would prevent you from laying papers on the floor or laying bills or fighting on the floor for political advantage. We will give you feedback and advice where necessary. So, Mr. Speaker, for example, on the currency front, what the government, we are advising in all humility, what the government should do is to take a lot more seriously the whole exercise of ensuring that exporters retire the forex earnings, properly so-called, back into the jurisdiction. The LOC requirements is what they should pay attention to.
Who you be at? Wow, to one say, and your man koye mame. My brother no has said things are not moving well. Ebu one man otonade kura ye nto. Ebu one man like the dada no or badu one man won fe pa o ba meme ni na da no. Area boy simple ni na da kura be 11. Nti e kwan no de ko no fie ni etu. But me do ko fo bi mfikyira no area boys are win mewalo amfane nko hwie. Sankofo na me se me de nana number de maw no afre no. O fre na na kan se abro and the number de maw. Ono ne de ne say 1. Enya de a obe charge o say fiscal 100 million blood, fiscal 500 million blood, Davi. Okay, problem na the answer we no. Say one and say auto na made kwa omode aba. Na wa yama uwia no abedasi. But yemye. Wan kwa dasi e wa wasem. E wona ne obusu afo meka za bro. Wona ode number 2 bia. Me say the obeko no obeka. Wona obese obo papa ye ma me dance say e wa wo ni me ho. 0241 68 14 11 0241 68 1411.
If you don't do that and you do an artificial dumping, today gold prices are high, so you are benefiting. What will happen tomorrow when gold prices are not high? Will you have $1.4 billion every 6 months to be dumping onto the market? No. As Honorable Minister, in all humility, your brothers and sisters on this side, we mentioned to you that to sustain the currency gains, pay more attention to the proper retirement of forex earnings, not an artificial dumping. Because today, if you dump currency artificially on the market and you suppress the rates, Governor Siama will have the rate, but Abochi will have the dollar. Today, a lot of importers are complaining that even when they file paperwork at the banks for transfer of forex, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, they are not getting it. So if you go ahead with this artificial dumping and suppression, what will happen is that Governor Siama, as I told you, will have the rate, but Abochi will have the dollar. Mr. Speaker, on the revenue measures, our recommendation is that some of the revenue measures you have introduced are in the long run going to take inflation back up. We said it when you introduced the Doomsday levy at midnight, when you waited for everybody to go to bed and you brought the Doomsday levy. We told you that extra levies on petroleum eventually will translate into inflation. For us, you say because we don't have goodwill, we should keep quiet. If you like, don't listen to us. Your own Governor Siama is drawing your attention to the fact that it is a risk for increased inflation in the medium term. And so our advice is that some of these panic revenue measures, you originally misconceived the fiscal program. You are now panicking and you've introduced 8 new taxes. Some of them, like the Doomsday levy, like the special import levy that you have introduced, they are going to translate into inflation at some point in time. It will be good for you to pull them back now at this point in time and rather look at what you can do on the expenditure side to cut. And talking of expenditure cuts, if there is a place where the 24-hour economy is needed the most now, is the Public Investments Division at the Finance Ministry. Why? Because that is where public-private partnerships are conceptualized. That is where they need to be working around the clock so that you can crowd in private funding to support what you cannot fund from the Treasury. And so your brothers and sisters on this side will give you feedback that pay attention to these things. I'm going to end with a caution. Mr. Speaker, the cost of government services is going to go up because fees and charges are being put up by about 30 to 40%. Electricity is going up by about 16%, in addition to the 8 new taxes. And so the government should take caution that the measures are going to increase the cost of government services, eventually the cost of doing business, and eventually the cost of living because of inflation. We also ask them finally to tone down on the propaganda. The list that the Minister for Finance brought, now people on social media are drawing his attention to the fact that that is not the price of Yaz sanitary pad. What he came to list here, people are drawing his attention to it. The minister came here and claimed that there was no gold for oil program. The Bank of Ghana itself concedes that there was a gold for, if there was no gold for oil program, why did you make the announcement that you have cancelled the gold for oil program? That propaganda, stop it. For example, your road projects that you have listed, a good chunk of them are a repackage of already existent road programs. You don't need that propaganda to try and
remember conclude.
Mr. Speaker, I'll conclude by saying that we will commend you where commendation is due. But we will also give you critique in good faith. If you take it and you adjust, it will help all of us. The propaganda is too much. For now, because you listened, your fiscal program, you are beginning to adjust it, but it's not sustainable. If you adopt the advice that we are giving you, the Republic will be the better for it. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Abusuafo nti weni nsɛm a Kojo Opong Nkrumah de atudwa ɛna so ɔbɔ NDC aban na ba so sɛ enema maako ba ebi wo hɔ no a aban dada no na hyɛ aseɛ sɛ ɔyɛ na aban ba yɛ so wato aso bibi te sɛ gold board yenye no sɛ Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ɔba ba kɔ anasɛ initiative ba ko de ba ya ne yɛ de check dollar and afei so no fu ehun nsensem to de bibi na efe no gold for oil eno na ban so ba wa hunu se eyade pa eti wo to aso Kojo Opong Nkrumah ebo na ba so as gold for oil no ni nyina yade a eye omampani abadi akire dada me kire Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ana de ba e ma nei yewura Samija mfin so anasa yewura mama ba no wate sa asoe na omampani dada akufu adote ye no wabe change din no aye no gold board nanso protocum hwegum ni nyina aye kwansa kuro na mu enti we ni ade a ye ka wo ye politician na don't be selfish, be patriotic wo no kura aka as a good citizen of this country emre bebrebe MPP NDC dodo pa ya NDC fo a omoba mo mpese ombeka no kura kire Ghana fo so oh many aba we enya adwen nanso ade we ya woye ne de waya ade me bo na ba so bo se ahyehye shom ho na se wono an initiative no de ba ye but ye sa enhira kura na nanom e wo asase su na otwede amponyankopɔ kwan amfa enhira because wo ma onyonko bere ayekwa etikojo Opong Nkrumah sama waka no matu chama no so no so atumi hunu se wonmo abana ba so ba bi na ba bi so wo a yen criticize so a ni nyina ya de a eboa ma wo man afa na ntuma pafira abushia sei ana wo say politicians ye emre bia NDC fo enya ma bam omo kansem bebre ene ma bone a aban no ayenko a omo kan ebi ni say aban no aye very corrupt ebi ni say aban MPP aban no omo disika papa nanso me no kasai 8 months mu ene ye akoi nipa ba kokore ni wa aban atumi na kogina court say wadi sikanti ya che no agisika no e de amre oman na just ntro kakra kontompo kakra na ya omuka no e yam papa na no na me san akabiem say na ye bia adan na se mo bana mo bibi na ya mo me yehu ana mo nka me yehu ne hu so oh we de ye nti e toa so because time aban ba en gina e na dollar e sha asese e ba fom me ye nyina nso sa ban ba na ni buso miensa kura dollar e ba fom na obi ba bisa se anye bia magic ban enum yiye ansa dollar no e ba fom na che so de ba fom a e ba be si se some initiation bia abanda dan take no ena afei enya nsunsanso ba onkama wonte anenti no me bo same me kire se ayi ofenso ayire bi mrahye bedwamni Kojo Opong Nkrumah me bo na ba so se watumi hu no kore na waka ne nyina so politician fanya de sua wo ya MPP na ba ban mu so a se do mama ya de pa so we do ya de pa and of course me no say na akofo ado e ba ban mu no Kumasi Kejetia market phase 1 no MPP free and say NDC free ban mu no na market was not completed but na akofo ado na ban e be wie che say omampani Mahams dia woye ya eye papa no onso ba beto aso yes anso be ko University of Ghana Medical Center UGMC eye hospital kasia the late Professor John Evans Atamios initiative ye na John Mahams so ebe ye bitu aso President Mahams onso be ye bitu aso omampani akufo ado so be wie na esesa na wo sanka mamu eye me no kasa ukọ America omfre bibi the American's dream ade bia aban bi beba oye no wo wi a ana aban ni fra konwa so next government ababa so wan wi a oba beto aso sa na nke de kọ eti Kojo Opong Nkrumah me bona baso pa say Kojo Opong Nkrumah atumi point out some of the things that NDC abana ya waya ade na afeso niam nso a waya wanya ade nyina no eno nso so no eyade a waka ho asem sa na wo say eba abusua nche bia de besi na mo ye akwe na me che wo say Mr. Donkomi a suit a beer and a suit arena yet the open suit papa de do juma bia say wo program bia ye executive say wo kwadwuma wo bank wo ye dwuma wo bank woyɛ ɔbaa woyɛ bɛrima yɛbɛma correct suit paa ne mpaboa kama ama nso wahwɛ ato so paa ama w'anim ate ɛne nti bɔ mmɔden sɛ wode w'ani bɛkyerɛm ɛwɔ ɛyɛ Mr. Donkomi asoɛyɛ anaa from ɛwɔ ahomatorofo 0249 092 824 ofre Mr. Donkomi ɔbɛgye so na wakyerɛ no baabi a wɔ na ɔde wo suit abrɛ kama sɛ nso wɔ Kumasi nso deɛ a wobɛba anaa baabi a ɛbɛn wɔ bia because ɔwɔ branches bebrebe ɛwɔ Ghana ha sei abusua no kyɛ sɛ deɛ akɔba no te sɛ ewiase yɛ ewe no sɛ wɔanya boafoɔ abrabom spiritually a wotiri bɛɛ sɛ dwanfu ti ɛno nti ɛna mɛkamfo Nana Eric ɛde ama wo sɛ Nana Eric sɛ abrabo bi a wobɔ asiri tiri ase na woto Joseph Mensah nyom so penesi ama forma yedina esu beto ama forma yemre ɔse nyom na dadie nanso no Nana Eric wo ho de bra frɛ no ahomatofo 0241 681411 bɔmɔde so wetu afrɛ no na enema enkoyi watu kwa kodu abrochire ɛna owɔ ntwetwɛdɛ ne nyina Nana Eric sɛ ɔbɛboa wo ɛma nneɛma akoyie ɛde ama wɔno no wɔn kyaagye wa na abɛhyɛ wo bɔ na emum sɛ emre no so sɛ wɔsɛ obedi bɔhyɛ so na wa ani so a asɛm ɛbɛtumi ato ɛsɛm ɛmpɛ nipa na ya na ɔpɛ no ho asɛm tu wo hyɛ bɔ a na wahunu bɔhyɛ a wo hyɛ no sɛ de obesi ahyɛ no afa twɛn next video
abusua sɛ wɔyɛ wadwin sɛ wopɛ sɛ wotu kwan kɔ South Africa maybe holidays wopɛ sɛ wokɔdi holidays for South Africa sɛ wo ne wo yere wo mma ebusua sɛ mu yokuo asɔre wopɛ sɛ mokɔ conference me kanfo bebi di am wɔ South Africa Johannesburg ɛwɔ na ɛwɔ saa nipa a meka no wasɛ ni Mr. Mike o frɛ na ka kyerɛ ne sɛ abro na de wo no ma ne ma me na wopɛ sɛ wo ba South Africa holidays tie ɔno ɔma adwuma sɛ wo hu nua bi wɔ South Africa ɛna ɔpɛ sɛ ɔbɛfa wo de wokɔ wo maame wo papa ɛna ɔpɛ sɛ ɔbɛfa wo de kɔ ba ɔntimi mfa wo nkɔ a frɛ Mr. Mike ɔbɛboa wo ɔno abɛma hotel reservation because no one hotels will be encountered na make catch on obɛma hotel reservation no invitation no you South Africa is visa at arrival but when nya de wo kɔ no hɔ de wo kɔ akɔyɛ baby obɛda na ade a sika wɔ ho de forget it but obɛyi bibia de amount na so akɔ holidays our South Africa say 1 month de ma wa mesrew wudi 1 month na anasa be so ansan brefi because wo dwane na okokonya asɛm a me offer me ma ne mmoa me call for holidays and my big fias mu na me chiro bibi papa en kon ko fefe bibi obi nkwaji usika ndi obi nkɔbɔ okro no de mic ye ni opa plane ticket no wa beto wa de ɔne de ani de nse hotel reservation ni ade ni obɛyɛ de ama wo bisrawo ka chen se abro and de normal de ma wo normal ni ye plus 276 10550099 plus 276 10550009 and I'll bet me a friend me akasa abro me no man that school nation 0243302191